We'll start from SQL. That is, in SQL we have to discuss first DDL, that is data definition language. This is basically for the while we are defining our this is mainly when we are used while we are defining our SQL, the table, while you're defining some table. So this basically includes the schema, the domains and the constraints. So the main structure and all we will basically define using this data definition language. So there are some commands that is used there, so we will be discussing that. So first of all, if you see domain in type, domains in SQL means the while we are creating a table, we will be having different attributes. So these attributes has a domain that we have discussed previously. So these domains in SQL can be char, and that is fixed length character string, and varchar is a variable length character string. Then for integer, small integer is the then double precision value and float n. So here varchar, int and float n is most commonly used. Varchar n, this n would be the size, how much size the string can be there. Similarly the float would also be that. And integer, varchar and float are the most commonly used domains in SQL. Okay, now DDL commands means, if you see here, DDL commands is the data definition language, that is the commands which is used here. Like if you wanted to create a table, create is used. To create any objects in the database, we will be using create. Drop is used to delete that object that you have created. Now this create can be, you can create tables, you can create functions, you can create procedures, views, triggers, and what are these we will discuss later modules, but you have to understand that you can create table and all using this create command. If DDL, drop is used to drop any objects which is there in the database, and alter is basically used if you wanted to change something. Like if you have in that object, that means if you have created the table and in the table you have defined one domain for one attribute, if you wanted to change that domain for that attribute, you can use alter. So alter, or if you wanted to add a new attribute to that table, or if you wanted to do something else in the main structure of the database, in the structure of the database, if you wanted to do any changes and all, we mainly use alter here. Now let's see how you can create a table. In a create table, first we will write create table. R means what? R means the table that you want to create. If I want to create employee table, I will write in this R's place employee. Now A1, D1, A2, D2, A1, A2, A2, AN are the different attributes here. D1, D2 are the different domain of these attributes. A1, if you have employee table can have integers. So employee number is an integer, so I will write first employee number A1 and their domain to be integer, like that. Now if I wanted to write any integrity constant, then I can write it here. Like if I wanted to say my ID is a primary key, if I wanted to create something primary key, I will write near that attribute to make it primary key. If it's any foreign key, then you have to write it as a foreign key it is. How we will write that, we will discuss it later detailing. So here we have a create table instructor. We are creating a table instructor whose ID, name, department name, salary are the attributes and their respective domain. Car 5, varchar 20, name and we write varchar. And salary numeric is the numeric means what? Salary is of 8 digit, and if there is a decimal, it can go up to 2, like point, then 2 numbers can only be there as decimal in the salary. That is numeric. What is numeric means? So there is numeric, varchar, integer, that is int, char, right? So we have float value, integer value, small integer value, right? The different things that we have, char, varchar, numeric is basically is another domain here in our SQL. Okay, Now we can write integrity constraints. Now we have to discuss the integrity constraints which are there in creating a table. There are different types of integrity constraint in DBMS. You have entity integrity constraint, you have referential integrity constraint, and you have domain constraints. What is integrity constraints? That is, first, if you wanted to understand that primary key, I can, that is, if I am saying that some attributes are primary key, I can write it like this: primary key, and in the bracket what are the attributes that I'm creating in the primary key. And one important thing is the primary key value should be not null, and that value should be unique. Now if you consider foreign key, I will write foreign key, what attribute I have to make foreign key, and references S means I have to specify this foreign key is referencing from which table, right? So S means the relation from which this attribute would act as a primary key. That I have to say here. Not null is another constraint that specifies the null value is not allowed for that attribute. So these are the constraints that is there in order to create a table. Now in the previous video we have discussed what do we mean by each of these constraints. What do we mean by entity integrity constraint? What do we mean by referential integrity constraint? What do we mean by domain constraints, right? So in domain constraints, that is, each of these has a domain, right? Referential integrity, while you are referencing entity, primary key should be there. Some things are this, like if I'm talking about this is how I will display primary key. Foreign key, I will write the attribute's name in the bracket, which attribute is considered to be a foreign key, and I will say it references which relationship this attribute is the primary key. That also I will say. Not null, if I am giving, that means that attribute cannot be null, value cannot be there for that attribute. So if you see here, ID, name, department name, salary, primary key. For in the primary key, I am writing ID as a primary key. I am also saying this name cannot be null. I have to write any name there. The name's value cannot be null. This is how I am creating a structure for this table instructor. Okay. Now foreign key, I am saying that department name is a foreign key which is referencing. I have write what is a foreign key here is department name, and it is referencing which table? Department table. That also I have specified from which table this is specified. So this is in which you will define a foreign key, and this is how you will define a primary key. And there is another constraint, that is the not null constraint here. Okay, so this is the example. If I am having a student table, the ID varchar 5, and I am creating this ID as a primary key. Name is varchar 20 is how much length it is possible for the name, and I have said that name cannot be null, it should be not null, the name should not be null. So that also I have specified. Then department name, then also another total credit maybe, I don't know. Numeric means it can be two things are there inside the bracket. One specifies how many numbers can be there after the decimal. That is what this actually means. The second thing, the length and how many values can be there after the decimal. That is how. And then how foreign key, department name is foreign key which is referencing the department table. So from the department table, department name, like this, how it is, that what does that sentence means. Now this is another creating table example. I am creating a table takes which contains ID, course ID, secretary ID, semester, year, grade, and all. I have displayed the different domain for each of them. This you can do anything in your own database what you wanted it to be. Okay. Now primary key, I have created ID, course ID, sec ID, semester, year, all are these are the things that I have given as primary key. And I have said foreign key, I have said that ID is a foreign key. I am telling that in the foreign key I am telling ID is a foreign key which is basically referencing word student. That is what I am saying. ID is a foreign key which references student. And the next thing is that another foreign key I have said is course ID, sec ID, semester, and year are foreign key which is referencing section. So primary key and foreign key can be sometimes same, that we all know. So in the section, course ID, sec ID, sorry, that is in the text table, ID, course ID, sec ID, semester year, all are primary key, and ID is from the table student, and course ID, sec ID, semester year from the table section. That we will define here. Now, we are creating table. Another example is given here, that is create table course ID, title, department name, credits. Primary key you have given course ID, foreign key you have given department name, which is referencing the department. Again, one more example is given there. Now, SQL drop command. Drop is in which you can delete whole database, or just if you wanted to, I can drop database name, I can drop a whole database, or I can drop table and I can do the table name. I can drop a table also. If I want to remove anything in the structure, in the database objects, if I wanted to remove, then I want to write drop object. If I want to remove what object, if I want to remove a function, then I can write drop function name. If I want to remove a procedure, then I would say drop procedure name. If it's table, I would say drop table name of the table which I have to delete. That I would specify there. Next command is the alter command. In alter command, the things that is used is add, drop and modify. That means in this here, if I wanted, this is my table, I wanted to add 2 columns here, age and course, in this table student. So what I will say first alter table student, then I will say I have to add age, whose let's say whose integer or age would be their domain, I would say, comma, I would say I would also wanted to add what, course varchar. This is how I will say I will use alter with add. Now sometimes I can use alter table with drop, that is alter table name, and in that I wanted to drop any particular column in that table, then I will say drop column name. So first, if I wanted to change anything in the structure of a table, if I want to add 2 columns, I said alter table the student, and I said add, then in the bracket I would say what attribute I have to add and their domain also I will specify. Now here, if I wanted to alter table, and if I am writing to drop some column and all from that table, here we will say alter table name, drop column name. That means here you will alter the table employee, and I want to drop, let us say I want to drop age, so I will say drop age, drop a column which is age from the column name. So alter table name, drop column name is the way you are using alter table with the drop. Now alter table with the modify means, if I wanted to, let's say in the existing column I wanted to change something, then what I would do, alter table name, modify column name, I will say modify column name, and modify course. I am modifying this attribute course, and in that I am changing its domain to varchar 20. This is the syntax where you are altering table using modify. How you are using modify? So if you want to modify an existing column in the table, and if you wanted to do that, the syntax is alter table name, modify what column you are modifying, that its name you have to write. So modify column name and the type, what modification you have to create here, that you have to specify. So the syntax of this 3 is very important. To add something, 2 columns and all, if I want to add alter table student, add, then in a bracket I would specify what I have to add, the column and the column's attribute and their domain I would specify. If I want to drop, I will say alter table name, drop column name. Okay, then if I want to modify, alter table name, modify the column name and the column type, what you wanted to do the change here, that also we have to specify here. Now these are the DDL commands. Now DDL commands are done. Now we have data manipulation language, that is DML. DML stands for data manipulation language, and it is a language used for selecting, inserting, deleting and updating data. This is used, DML, data definition language, and all is for the structure of our table and all. Mainly for the main structure defining, in the defining part we will use the DDL command. But if you see data manipulation language, the data manipulation language is mainly used in the cases where you wanted to do some manipulate some things in our data which is present in the database. Like if I wanted to select, instead, insert, update, delete and all the data which is present in our database, then we will use DML commands. So it is basically used to retrieve and manipulate the data which is present in our relational database. Let us see which are the basic things that is used. Insert, update, for retrieving we will use select. Then for other purpose we will use insert, update and delete. So first let's see SQL insert. If I wanted to insert some values to my table, I will use insert. So insert into, let's say, table name. In this table I want to insert some values, so I will use insert into table name values. In the table name and values we will write the values that I want to insert in here, and this value 1, value 2, value 3 will be matching our attributes in our table name. See, for example, here in the customer table I am inserting the customer ID, customer name. In these attributes I will be defining some data. So insert into customer values. In that values I have to define this customer ID 92. Before cardinal I will be displaying 92, let's say. Okay, 92 comma cardinal comma Tomby will give the customer name, then this would be the contact name, and then address is here, the city is city should also be there, postal code is here, country is the Norway. So like that we will create a table here. So insert into the table name values in the bracket, we will write the values in order. Here there is a mistake, we didn't write the customer ID value, that 92 also you have to write it in the previous of it. Okay, just before cardinal. This order should be kept: customer ID, customer name, contact name, address, city is also, address is given, city is also, both cities here, contact name is here, customer, yeah, it's fine. Okay, now postal code, country, like that, fine. Now SQL update statement is used to update the data which is present in our existing table. So update table, and let's say I wanted to do something in a condition, that is there is a where condition which is used to specify one condition in which I have to update that. That means, let us say I am saying that updating this customers table and setting the contact name to be Alfred Schmidt and city to be Frankfurt, where the customer ID is 1. That is in the customer ID 1, in which where you have to update, that is important, and in that what you have to update. For you are updating the customer, okay, while you are updating this table, first you have to think what updation you need. So the updation you need is here is that I want to set, remember this keyword set, I want to set the contact name to be Alfred and city to be Frankfurt. That is what I have to do, comma city to be set, the contact name to be Alfred, comma city to be Frankfurt. Now where I have to do that is where customer ID is equal to 1. Where the customer ID is 1, there I have to do this updation. So while you are using updation, where is required, because we have to specify where you have to do this updation. That is one important thing. Now another example, update the customer, set contact name to be Juan, where country is Mexico. Where country is Mexico, in that position I have to change the contact name to be Juan. I have to set that value. So this is how we are working. While you are updating, the important thing that you have to understand is that you have to specify where you have to do that update, right? Now SQL delete is if I want to delete a single record or a multiple record. So delete from this table, where what you have to delete, that is another important thing. So in update also we will use where, update, set, where. These are the things that is used in update. And in delete we are using where and also from. Delete from which table, that name you have to write, and where condition you have to write. That is delete from customers where customer name is Alfred. So this Alfred name customer, I have that record, I have to completely delete. So now in the after this statement, after this query, this Alfred name customer name record is not there, only 2 and 3, the other records are there. So while you're deleting also, you have to specify from where you have to delete. That is also another important thing that you have to specify. From where you have to delete is also an important thing. So delete from customer where, delete from, that is another important. These red words are what you have to remember. Delete from customers where customer name is equal to Alfred Futterkist. I don't know why this name is so hard to pronounce. Okay, fine. So another, sometimes I have to delete all the record. If I want to delete all the record, then I will just say delete from table name. That is a syntax which is used to delete all the records. If I want to delete all the records, I will use this syntax, delete from table name. Delete from customers will delete all the records here. Now there are some questions here. Let us see. I have to create this following table. So create table. Let's say this table name is student, and from here the attributes are roll number. So roll number, their domain is varchar, comma, name is name varchar 10, subject not null. I have to write not null for name because it is said that in the question I have to write not null here. Subject code varchar 5, subject code varchar 5, comma, age integer. Now I have to make sure that in the primary key is what, roll number. So I have write primary key to be roll number, and foreign key to be subject code, which is referencing what, the subject table. So I have created that table. Now I have to insert the following table structure. So insert into the student values 1 Anil or comma 1 Anil CS203 comma 21. Then I have to do at the end, I have to put semicolon, right? I have to put semicolon at that. Now again, insert into student values, right? Insert into student values. In the integer you don't need to write the double comma here. There's a mistake here. In integer you don't need to write. Varchar you have to write upside hyphens you have to write. Okay. Insert into student values. Now add a new column university to varchar. So this is DDL command we have to use. I am adding a new column here. So how we are going to do is that alter table student, right? Alter table student, then add in the bracket university varchar 10. This is how we are going to do that. There is a bracket here that is missing. Okay, fine. Now update the university column of the table. I have to update the university. Update student, set the university to be Kerala, where roll number. So here the university I have added. Now I want to add some, update the values in that. So I'm updating this, updating the table students, right? Update student, set university to be equal to Kerala, where roll number is 1. So in university, in updation we will use update, set and where clauses, right? So now update student, set university equal to KTU, where roll number is equal to 2, like that. This you have understood, where roll number is equal to 2. This is asked to update, so we use the update query. Okay, delete the record of roll number 2. So delete from student where roll number is equal to 2. Simple. Delete, I told you we will use delete from, and the condition is roll number to be 2. Delete all records from the table student means delete from the student table name you have to write here. This will delete all the records from the table student. There are some university questions now we will be doing here. So let's do that. Here the university question is, use the standard synthesis procedure. That is, standard synthesis procedure generate the set of relation corresponding this area, identify the primary. So that means I have to standard synthesis procedure to generate a set of relation corresponding to the ER diagram below, and identify the primary and foreign key of the generated relations. That means these are the questions. Here there are some questions that we will do in the next, because here I didn't bring out the solution, like I didn't write out the solution slides, so therefore I need to do that. So I will create a solution slide for these questions and create another video here for the university questions. Thank you.